With the recent military demonstrations by the Islamic Republic of Iran, the intelligence reports long relied upon by Israel's Mossad have suddenly become dangerously obsolete and fatally misleading. The strategic landscape of the Middle East was fundamentally altered when two Iranian ballistic missiles tore through the atmosphere, streaking toward Diego Garcia, a highly secretive and heavily fortified joint US UK military outpost isolated in the middle of the Indian Ocean. In that moment, the world was forced into a staggering realization. The 2,000-kilometer range previously claimed by Tehran was merely a sophisticated smokescreen, a masterpiece of strategic deception. In reality, with an operational reach extending to 4,000 kilometers, one must wonder, is Iran simply sending a localized message to a remote island base? Or are they theoretically placing Paris, London, and the vast majority of Europe within their crosshairs? The burning question persists. Why, in the midst of being pummeled by the US and Israel, with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth claiming that 90% of Iran's offensive capabilities have been neutralized, did Tehran consolidate its remaining strength to execute a launch that reaches far beyond the regional theater? The primary and most essential reason is Iran's desire to shatter the regional war trap. In Tehran's strategic calculus, if their reach were limited only to Tel Aviv or Riyadh, the United States could comfortably utilize out-of-reach sanctuaries like Diego Garcia as a launchpad for devastating bombing sorties without the fear of retaliation. Diego Garcia has long served as the den for the B-2 Spirit Ghosts, stealth bombers capable of penetrating Iran's deepest underground nuclear facilities. By launching missiles at this specific coordinate, Iran is delivering a direct ultimatum to Washington. Nowhere is absolutely safe. If you use this sanctuary to strike us, we will transform it into a graveyard immediately. Secondly, this operation serves as a dramatic technological demonstration in direct rebuttal to President Trump's claims of total annihilation. Strategic experts such as William L. Burke and Jeffrey Lewis believe that Tehran has been exceptionally clever in converting civilian satellite launch vehicles, SLVs, such as the Zoljana or Simorgh rockets, into intermediate-range ballistic missiles, IRBMs. The shift towards solid fuel engines is a game-changer. It allows for launch procedures with virtually zero preparation time, rendering modern, early-warning satellite constellations almost useless. This is Iran's method of proving they maintain effective command and control, despite the high-profile assassinations of their top-tier leadership. Iran's focus on a deterrent capability that stretches to Europe or distant island bases is not a random act of desperation, but a core component of what analysts call structured deterrence. First, it aims to neutralize the support of US allies. When London and Paris realize that Iranian warheads can theoretically reach their own capitals, they must think twice before allowing the US to utilize their sovereign territory or shared bases for military operations against Iran. The launch, occurring just as Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government weighed further support for US operations, was a blunt warning. Our right to self-defense recognizes no borders. Furthermore, this creates a balance of mutual terror. Iran understands it cannot win a total conventional war against the United States. Therefore, they opt for controlled escalation, attacking sensitive targets such as the Dimona nuclear facility or the strategic hub of Diego Garcia is Tehran's way of shaping the adversary's behavior. They are forcing the US and Israel to accept that the price of continuing their campaign may be too high to pay. There is a fascinating technical reality pointed out by former Rear Admiral Steve Prest. A ballistic missile is, in essence, a space rocket. By maintaining a civilian space program, Iran has skillfully built a stockpile of long-range ballistic technology without technically violating previous international commitments regarding military range limits. By miniaturizing warheads or reducing the weight of the Zoljana rocket, they can transform it into a monster with a 5,000-kilometer range. This is a soft but incredibly lethal form of deterrence, showing that even under siege, Tehran's military scientists are capable of achieving quantum leaps in technology. By proving they can strike targets 4,000 kilometers away with staggering precision, Iran is constructing its own golden hoop of protection. They want the world to see that the military brains of Tehran possess the ingenuity to bypass the most sophisticated embargoes and achieve breakthroughs that change the global security architecture. While Washington remains confident in the SM-3 interceptor system designed to engage intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, outside the atmosphere, the strikes near Diego Garcia and Dimona have exposed lethal gaps in the Aegis defense umbrella. When Iran launches missiles with evasive, non-ballistic trajectories or utilizes upgraded variants like the Khorramshahr 4, the precision may fluctuate, but the deterrent value multiplies exponentially. Iran does not need to completely level Diego Garcia. They only need to prove that they have the reach to touch it. Researchers from the Institute for National Security Studies in Israel observe that these are not the random retaliations of a disintegrating military. This is a meticulously directed strategic plan, translated into precise tactical deployments. Iran is attempting to demonstrate to Trump and Netanyahu a simple truth. You can eliminate our individual leaders, but you cannot eliminate a defense system that has been engineered to operate autonomously and strike back automatically when pushed to the brink of extinction. European observers are increasingly worried about a collective suicide scenario. While Israel believes that crushing Iran's oil revenues and the South Pass gas fields will force a surrender, Europe sees a darker outcome: a cornered Iran using its remaining Shahed drones and long-range missiles to systematically dismantle the world's energy infrastructure. The Diego Garcia launch was the signal flare announcing that Iran is ready to expand the game far beyond the borders of Western Asia. Across the Atlantic, President Donald Trump has initiated a psychological showdown, setting a definitive deadline of 3:14 a.m. on March 24th, Tehran time. Either Iran reopens the Strait of Hormuz or its power plants will be reduced to rubble. Tehran's response was immediate and unflinching, issuing a sacred oath that if the US dares to touch their energy infrastructure, every American and Israeli power, water, and IT system in the region will be the brightest lights of the night in the most literal and destructive sense. The tension reached its zenith when Iranian generals, led by General Mossad, arrogantly declared that Tehran's missiles now dominate the Israeli skies. To substantiate this claim, the strike near the Dimona region, home to Israel's most secretive nuclear facility, sent shockwaves through Western military circles. The fact that at least 2 ballistic missiles successfully penetrated the world's most dense air defense shield, causing over 100 casualties, was a painful blow to the myth of Tel Aviv's impenetrable sky. Speaker of the Iranian Parliament Ghalibaf hinted that this was merely the beginning of a pre-designed master plan, suggesting even more devastating phases lie ahead. The secret weapon fueling Iran's confidence in this aerial dance is the combat debut of the Sajil-2 super missile during the True Promise 4 campaign. These are not the sluggish liquid-fueled rockets of the past. The Sajil-2 represents a technological leap, featuring 2-stage solid-fuel engines that allow it to leave the launcher almost instantly upon command. Its nickname, the Dancing Missile, refers to its highly maneuverable re-entry vehicle which executes unpredictable trajectory changes during flight. This effectively confuses the interceptor computers of the US and Israel, as they cannot predict a precise point of impact. Regional analysts and politicians fear that Trump's deadline could be the detonator for a global catastrophe. If the US strikes, Iran will almost certainly retaliate by crippling desalination plants and power grids across the Persian Gulf, dragging Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Bahrain into the firestorm. The late Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, Ali Larijani, once issued a chilling warning. The entire region could be plunged into darkness in just 30 minutes. Clearly, Iran is utilizing ballistic missiles as a strategic air force to compensate for its aging fleet of manned aircraft. With the Sajil-2, they require no suicide pilots or expensive fighters. They only need mobile launchers hidden within mountain fortresses to impose a new rule of the game. Meanwhile, envoy Ali Musavi in the UK has issued a cryptic statement. The Strait of Hormuz is technically open, but only for those who know how to behave. He asserted that foreign vessels could still pass freely if they coordinate with the Iranian government on security protocols, emphasizing the ultimate requirement to respect Iran's territorial integrity. However, the trap lies in the detail. Tehran declares the strait closed only to adversaries of Iran, a definition everyone understands is aimed directly at the US and Israel. Iran is signaling that only when Washington and Tel Aviv cease their airstrikes will trust be rebuilt and Hormuz fully reopened. By blaming the aggression of its opponents as the source of all chaos, Iran is attempting to push the ball of responsibility back to the White House, transforming this oil artery into a high-stakes diplomatic bargaining chip. As the clock ticks toward 3:14 a.m. on March 24th, the world holds its breath to see if this is Trump's ultimate bluff or the beginning of a great war that will fundamentally redraw the map of human energy and security.